This episode is brought to you in part by Hybrid Light. Durable, environmentally friendly, and guaranteed for life. Visit hybridlight.com. And Sheffield Financial. Specialized equipment financing for work, play, and everything in between. Visit sheffieldfinancial.com.
5 a.m. can't come soon enough for folks like these. There's more than just a job to do, so they hit their knees. They sure take pride in everything they do. And there's no challenge that they won't work through. So they tirelessly keep going on. They work their fingers to the bone. They spend way too much time in the field and away from home. You can be sure they know what all this hard work is for. So now we honor you as legends, legends of the outdoors.
Hey folks, welcome to this episode of Legends of the Outdoors TV. This morning, we're going to be filming on Reelfoot Lake out of Blue Bank Resort. Normally we fish for crappie and bluegill, but Abby Joe, this morning we're going to be fishing for something kind of special, catfish.
Even better.
I first want to introduce a really good friend of mine, Mr. Charlie Brewer from Charlie Brewer Slider Company.
Yeah,
Chuck,
great to be here.
man, I'm glad to have you. I know we've got to film a lot of different shows together
sure
over
have.
the years, and we've had some great fishing, but we hadn't got to film on Blue Bank Resort and on Reelfoot Lake much, so I'm excited.
No, not much, but so this will be a little different.
And normally, like I said, you and I are going after crappie or bluegill. Today we're going to go after catfish.
Okay.
And I can't wait to catch one of these big Reelfoot Lake catfish.
Okay.
So, well, folks, we're going to get out on the water, stick around, and let's see what happens. Charlie, we've been out, on several lakes fishing, and we've even been over here on Reelfoot Lake bluegill fishing a time or two. But this is something totally different, this catfishing around these trees.
I know it. I've never quite been on this lake doing this like this, in shallow water against these cypress trees. So.
You and your dad, Charlie Brewer Sr, are both Hall of Fame members. We inducted Mr. Charlie in 2002. He was one of the first inductees posthumously that we ever done.
His whole life he always fished. And when he got old enough to get a bicycle, him and the other boys, they'd go a little further out these creeks and they'd fish. And went into the U.S. Navy just prior to World War II and fishing in the South Pacific. And he'd fish there in the ocean too, but he really got into the bass fishing after World War II. In 1946, him and his buddies, they had these old Army tents, and they would go to Lake Okeechobee, stay down there 2 or 3 weeks at a time, put these tents up on the bank there. At that time, there wasn't any resorts, any motels, nothing. I mean, they just worked out of the back of the pickup truck in that tent. But they would catch fish like crazy, bass, using the conventional heavy tackle and catch a lot of fish. And he caught his whole life, he's always catching a lot of fish. And when I was real little, even 4 years old and up, he'd take me fishing, always fish with him. And later years, when him and his buddies would go, he'd always get home about 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night. First thing we'd do is go out there and look at that cooler, look at all the bass they had in there. Yeah. And that day you kept all your fish and ate them.
Right.
By the time it was getting toward the middle to the end of the 1960s, it was getting a little harder to catch fish using this conventional heavy tackle like you'd been doing the decades before. A lot more people were fishing, a lot of boats on the water and their ramps and things. So he kind of changed. He watched some of these boys fishing the local creeks with real light tackle equipment that they'd made themselves and put together. So he got to analyzing what they was doing. So he started experimenting with light tackle fishing and downsizing his lures, started catching more fish. I remember when the
Well, if I was going to say plastic worms came out, actually they were rubber.
Right.
He bought some of this stuff, you know, ordered it, and he'd make up these worms there on the kitchen stove, and they were made out of rubber, and they were so hard you couldn't hardly get a hook through them.
Yeah.
He said they'd last forever if you didn't lose them.
Right.
And but he kept downsizing and downsizing, and got into soft plastic eventually. He got down to 4-inch slider worm.
Right.
And you say, well, why 4-inch? And he said, well, all the fish that he cleaned through the years, most of what he saw inside their stomachs and everything was 3 to 4 inches, you know, smaller. So he got down to that size, and he started catching using light tackle. And when nobody in the South was using light tackle, but started catching a lot of fish, catching a lot of numbers. And that's what he was after, numbers, having fun. We're gonna make a move here for just a second, and then we're gonna come on back. We're gonna talk about the early years of Charlie Brewer Slider Company and about Chuck's early years too. Hey Abby, I want to tell you about a really neat contest that we're running on Legends of the Outdoors TV for our sponsor, Hybrid Lights. Anyone that's watching our show after episode 6 can go on hybridlight.com and say, I seen the light or I found the light. Yeah. Every episode, we're going to have a hybrid light somewhere in that episode. And when you see it, you click on hybridlight.com and tell them that you've seen the light and where you've seen it at. And that will automatically put you in for a contest where one winner will win a great box full of hybrid light products.
Wow, whoever wins is lucky.
They are lucky, and I tell you what, this is some of the neat products. You can charge your phone with these.
Wow.
They charge, most of their products charged by solar or through plugging them into the wall through a USB port or just a straight plug. So hybridlights.com, click on it and find out all about the Legends of the Outdoors TV. I found the light.
Tired of pushing that old lawnmower? Don't go another season without the equipment you need to do the jobs that are important to you. At Sheffield Financial, we specialize in helping our customers get what they need. The easy application and fast approval process makes financing your outdoor power equipment easy. Don't go another season without the equipment you need. Check out SheffieldFinancial.com today.
This segment is brought to you in part by Mossy Oak. No one knows hunters like Mossy Oak. Visit mossyoak.com. And Frog Togs. Breathable, affordable, and lightweight. Visit frogtogs.com.
Charlie, I know in the early years when you and Miss Linda took over the company, you were working a regular job, and Linda was at the office all the time.
That's right.
And tell us a little bit about, I know you were in the Navy before you went to work, but tell us a little bit about what you were doing back then.
Well, if you want to go back to my Navy years, I spent 4 years in the Navy, spent time in Atsugi, Japan, and Da Nang Air Base in Vietnam, and worked on aviation electronics. And from what I learned in the Navy, I just stayed with that and went to school on the GI Bill, got an electrical engineering degree, and then worked at some of the local plants around Lawrenceburg there. But anyway, that was my regular job, full-time job. And then we had the company that we bought from my dad. And Dad still did promotional work for us and the fishing and all that type of thing. But my wife stayed there every day working, and I would go down there after hours and weekends and vacation and work shows and whatever. And you know, the early years we didn't make much money, if any, off the company. You know, relying on my job to pay the bills for the family. I had my wife working there, and she worked there, working there 3 years, and she took care of everything. And any money we made, we'd take it and reinvest it back into the company. You know, so I had paid her in 3 years. So I had, and in some ways, all the money was going back into the company. But she went out to eat with some of her girlfriends one day, and about 4 or 5 of them, and they all worked for their husbands. And they told her, they said, we want to ask you something. And she said, what? They said, well, you get paid working down there for your husband at the Slider Company?
She said, well, no, don't get paid anything. We put the money back in the company. And these other girls said, well, we never got paid either. We just started writing our own check. And, you know, after that, she started writing her own check. So, you know, most people I knew in the tackle business back then, they had a regular job and then they had their tackle business. To stay in business long term, and we've been in business about 52 years now, is you try to stay out of debt. You know, if we try to float with the economy, if the economy goes up and we need to gear up more, we'll gear up more. If they go down, we'll kind of go down with it. But kind of stay out of debt and stay in business longer.
Chuck, in developing your business over the 52 years, I know you took some of your dad's ideas and some of your own ideas, and y'all started developing new products.
Yeah.
Your dad had kind of developed the do nothing system and the do nothing worm and the slider grub, but you guys have taken that a long, long ways in the 52 years.
And we try to find what the fishermen want. You know, we want something that catches fish.
Right.
First of all, we want to catch fish.
Right.
And then we try to see what the fishermen are looking for, what they want.
Right.
So,
Well, I got to tell a story real quick about how I stumbled on the Charlie Brewer Sliders grubs, because you know I got crappie fishing on Kentucky Lake. I had a guy come from Nashville, one of my regular customers, and he brought a guy with him that had never crappie fished before, who stopped at a grocery or a bait store there in Nashville and asked the guy what he needed to carry to Kentucky Lake to crappie fish. The guy gave him a couple of packages of the chartreuse glitter Charlie Brewer Slider grubs. And when they got there, we threw a marker out on the first bed we were going to fish, and that guy was sitting in the back of the boat, and he immediately started catching fish, and me and the other gentleman was using another kind of bait. And this guy just, you know, for 15 or 20 minutes just outfished us 2-1. I finally asked him what he was using, and he handed me that pack of Charlie Brewer Slider grubs. And I've never had a day since then that there wasn't multiple packs of Charlie Brewer Slider grubs in my boat. So
we sponsor a lot of tournament fishermen too, in various circuits, and have for years. And we tell them to use whatever it is they need to use to win that tournament. And, you know, there's times when other things might work better, and there's times when our lures work better. But always keep some in your boat and do what you need to do to win those tournaments. But it's been successful for us because we've got repeat customers now for years and years and years and years. And that's what you want, repeat customers.
absolutely.
If you do that, you're doing something right. Get him, Garry.
Come here, son. Get on up in here. There he is.
Maybe just you catch catfish or just the ones you catch?
I'll catch any.
You want to kiss that one, Abby Joe? No, I ain't gonna make you do that.
You kiss it, Garry.
No. I'll kiss him after he's fried.
Well, yeah.
It's a nice little Reelfoot Lake catfish, but we're going after bigger ones, right?
Right on.
All right, we're gonna let this one go. He can live and grow up, swim another day.
And you also caught the biggest one.
So far. So, Abby, you got 2 or 3 bites up against some of these cypress trees, and you just got another bite. Them fish are quick, aren't they?
They sure are quick.
You know, the one I caught, boy, he hammered it, and but
Yeah, we thought he was going to be huge.
Yeah, I know, he fought, man, be no bigger than he was, but
Yeah, they put up a fight.
But you keep pitching in there at that tree, you're gonna catch one.
I hope so. I hope I get the biggest one.
You did notice that I did not ask you to kiss my catfish.
I'm going to kiss mine.
Folks, we'll be right back after these messages. Stick around. We'll talk more with Charlie Brewer, Charlie Brewer Slider Grub Company. Hey folks, I want to tell you about a brand new reel and gun oil created by my friend Jeff Milam.
called 80 Below. Jeff, tell me a little bit about the product.
80 Below is a product that's built to really withstand Mother Nature. Anything it throws at it, minus 80 degrees on the cold side and up to 465 high side. Really, if you like to hunt cold weather or fish in cold weather, it's an excellent product.
80 Below gun and reel oil. You got to have this if you hunt and fish. Hey Abby, I want to tell you about a really neat contest that we're running on Legends of the Outdoors TV for our sponsor, Hybrid Lights. Anyone that's watching our show after episode 6 can go on hybridlight.com and say, I seen the light or I found the light. Yeah. Every episode, we're going to have a hybrid light somewhere in that episode. And when you see it, you click on hybridlight.com and tell them that you've seen the light and where you seen it at. And that will automatically put you in for a contest where one winner will win a great box full of hybrid light products.
Wow, whoever wins is lucky.
They are lucky, and I tell you what, this is some of the neat products. You can charge your phone with these.
Wow.
They charge, most of their products charged by solar or through plugging them into the wall through a USB port or just a straight plug. So hybridlights.com, click on it and find out all about the Legends of the Outdoors TV. I found the light.
This segment is brought to you in part by B&M Poles, the leading crappie pole in the world. Visit bnmpoles.com. And Vortex Optics. Life happens, which is why Vortex products come with an unlimited lifetime warranty. Visit vortexoptics.com.
Chuck, as you've grown this company, you brought about some really new products, some great new products. I know a lot of folks think about Charlie Brewer Slider Company as a crappie company, but you guys really started out, as you talked, as a bass company. And now you've kind of come full circle because you've got some of the best bass baits that I've ever used. Swim baits, 4-inch Charlie Brewer Slider, put on the bottom of a spinner bait. Of course, like you said, to start with, back in day one, my dad was always a bass fisherman, and he actually went after strictly smallmouth bass, which is great, but you can't hardly make enough business off just smallmouth bass. So you got into largemouth, and spotted bass and whatever, and then later big time into the crappie and bluegill and perch. But we've developed some 3-inch bass grubs that Dad developed years ago, and then my wife and myself have developed some other versions of those. Some that's got little different tail action. Some of them are called double action because they've got a kind of a viper tail that get action from, plus they got a jointed body. And it gives you a little extra action. We've got those in 3-inch, and then we've got some in 4-inch and in between sizes. They carry over the bass level and also the big crappie level. But also we get into the walleye market pretty good up north with that. So we do real good with the walleye customers around, and like I said, a lot of overseas species too. They're real popular overseas. We still got a lot of ideas to put out there. We've got, you know, some of our crappie fishermen, bluegill fishermen, they like these real thin wire hooks. So we've got some of those. We call them double light hooks. I mean, they're so thin, they're needle sharp. But what the fisherman likes about them, it's an open hook design, and if you do get it hung, you can just pull your line, it'll straighten out the hook, and you can bring it back and just bend it back with your fingers and keep fishing. Right. Now, if you get a big fish on there, you got to know what you got on there. Right. Really take your time.
And know what you're doing. Take your time.
That's right. But we're out there mostly to have fun. You know, I'm not a tournament guy that.
Well, I know you're getting second and third generation customers because my sons use Charlie Brewer Slider grubs. Now my grandkids are using Charlie Brewer Slider grubs. So, so you're getting second and third generation customers.
Yeah. There you go. You got one. There you go. Keep reading.
Where's he going? There you go.
Have fun with it.
Oh. Here we go. Fish on. It's like a good sized catfish.
Kettle key.
You didn't actually touch
She
it.
said she was going to kill the catfish. Hey folks, Abby Jo just caught her first catfish. We've had a great time out here on Reelfoot Lake. We're fixing to head in and get us a bite to eat.
We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a brand new product created by my friend Steve Mosley. Steve, BioProGreen was created by you. Tell us a little bit about what it does and why.
BioProGreen is made from a specialized group of products that helps enhance your food plot. It increases the protein, it increases the biomass, and it will help draw wildlife to your food plot.
BioProGreen will enhance your food plots and help bring wildlife to your properties.
Tired of pushing that old lawnmower? Don't go another season without the equipment you need to do the jobs that are important to you. At Sheffield Financial, we specialize in helping our customers get what they need. The easy application and fast approval process makes financing your outdoor power equipment easy. Don't go another season without the equipment you need. Check out SheffieldFinancial.com today.
This segment is brought to you in part by Paris Henry County Chamber of Commerce. For more information, visit paristnchamber.com. And Mossberg. Safety and safe firearm handling is everyone's responsibility. Visit mossberg.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Legends Outdoors TV. We've made a little bit of a move because the fish kind of being finicky this morning. We had cool temperatures. I think it was about 45 degrees this morning, Chuck. And so these fish are being a little bit finicky. We're moving a lot, trying to find them. Abby Jo's had a couple of bites. I don't know why Chuck and I haven't had a couple of bites, but Abby, you wanted to ask Chuck a question, and I'm going to turn it over to you. And
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your daughter, taking over the business. I've always thought family businesses were super special, and my mom and my aunt actually had taken over my grandfather and his business partner's game call company and helped run it. And I wanted to kind of ask you a little bit about how she got started doing that.
well, of course, start with had 3 children, 3 girls.
Lucky you.
They all fished when we were growing up, and she seemed to be maybe more interested in fishing with me and getting out to the lake a lot. They all love the lake, but in later, she went to school to be a school teacher. She was a teacher for many years, and then she got into the administrative part of the educational system again for many years. But a little later in life, they had a lot of reorganization within the school system, and so she was thinking about making a change. And I said, well, why don't you just come down and work in the fishing tackle business with me, And she grew up in it. She was familiar with it. Even in high school, she'd come there after school, and we made fishing rods there. So she would wrap rods and do that type of thing. So she'd always been part of the company. She thought about that, and she had a couple of children. They're already grown, out of college, and so she about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, she came and started working at the company. Now, one thing I told her, I said, once you get into this, there's no end to it. You won't ever run out of things to do.
No looking back.
Tell you that. There's always something to do. But anyway, she got involved with the company, had a lot of new ideas, which I'm getting older myself, and maybe not quite as energetic as she was. And so she brought in all these new ideas and new ways of doing things, and she brought in some products we could sell to more women fishermen. I said, well, we're big part of the market.
Yeah, it's a big market.
The men fishermen, but I said, look at all the women out there. Why don't we show them this stuff?
That's right.
And she's real good with working with people, and she's real good with the social media. So I basically turned the company over to her January of this year. It's hers 100%, do what she wants to do. You know, sometimes I come, she hates to see me walk in there with a piece of paper, you know, with notes on it, because that's usually jobs to do. And she said, we're already covered up with jobs. We don't need any more right now. So I was okay, I'll leave.
Funny.
Go fishing or whatever. But I turned it over to her, and she's been real successful. She's brought her son into the business, so
wow.
trained him for
So fourth generation.
fourth generation. Yeah. So, and something I was telling Garry too is I found out that the women always seem to be better fishermen. My wife, I take her fishing with me. She doesn't even halfway try. Always catches bigger fish, more fish. And you talk to my friends, they take their wives the same thing. And I think the women must be more patient or
They have the
something.
magic touch.
They've got something that we don't have that makes them real successful when it comes to fishing. I'm proud my daughter's in the business now, and she's working trade shows and doing all the things she needs to do.
Yeah.
And I think she'll be real successful, and I hope she does real well and makes a good living out of it. She controls her own destiny now. I don't tell her to do anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Work as much as she wants or as little as she wants, but she tends to work more now, seems like.
Well, I always like hearing stories like that. One of our main taglines, you know, for the show and for the Hall of Fame is following in the footsteps and leaving a legacy. And I like hearing those success family stories like that.
Well, maybe it's a genetic thing too.
It is. It's in your DNA.
We've had Charlie Brewer Jr. here on this episode. We appreciate him getting to come and spend some time with us fishing. He'll be back on a future episode or two, I know, and we'll talk more about Charlie Brewer Slider Grubs, and we'll also talk about Mr. Charlie, who founded the company. Don't come back and see us next time on Legends of the Outdoors TV. On behalf of me and Abby Joe and all the folks, we appreciate you watching.
This episode was brought to you in part by Hybrid Light. Durable, environmentally friendly, and guaranteed for life. Visit hybridlight.com. And Sheffield Financial, specialized equipment financing for work, play, and everything in between. Visit sheffieldfinancial.com.